Well, I mean, someone's going to give it
a Oh, the rolling finger's coming.
Oy.
All right, so I'm going to screw this up, folks. Welcome to E1R Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. Why, it doesn't matter what kind of Limit Champ or Lucky Track dog you run. As long as you built it yourself and drive it hard, why, we even think you hella sweet Drifto guys are all right as long as you...
Why do I write it?
Don't you have the notes?
I do, but I'd already scrolled down to what we're working on, so I'm going to screw this up. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are E1R Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to a Jackson 5 of our podcast, because it's ABC, as easy as episode 1, 2, 3. ABC, 1, 2, 3. And if you're not driving a car, don't forget the bingo card.
So now that no one is listening, this is going to be amazing.
Also, Super Mockery is needed at this point because somebody forgot.
I'm not.
Jeff has
I'm away on vacation.
headphone mics on tonight. Yay.
Yeah, but some people do it better than
echoey
others.
hotel room.
And he's got a little bit of a coronavirus cough, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's true.
I thought it was
the same coronavirus
cough.
Yeah.
It was a margarita virus, coronavirus. It's the same.
There was definitely some margaritas tonight, so.
Weird. Okay.
I'm as liquored up as a Mental usually is.
Fair.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, well, let's aside from margaritas, Jeff, what else are you working on?
Well, I am sitting in, I wouldn't call it sunny Florida, cloudy and 70-degree Florida, because I am on a family vacation.
Not Florida.
Not frozen Florida at all. So we are going to we're doing the Disney thing. We're going to try and get on Rise of Resistance tomorrow. We have all kinds of big plans. And basically I worked every day in the past 2 weekends. So I really don't have anything I was working on other than trying to survive the coronavirus and go to Florida.
So my boss just got back from Disney World and said that the Star Wars thing was actually awesome. And this guy's about 2 inches taller than me, really, really fit. He's a weapons officer, and he's like, I get to drive the Millennium Falcon. I get to pilot the Millennium Falcon. And his kids were like, yeah, it's cool, right? It's 3D. And he's looking at his kids going, you don't understand. It's the Millennium Falcon, man. And I was I was sharing his excitement, and then this other girl comes by. She's like, yeah, Millennium Falcon. What's the big deal? I'm like, you totally don't understand the appeal of the Millennium Falcon. She goes, sure I do. It's a Falcon. And immediately it popped into my head with, what the hell's an aluminum Falcon?
What the hell's an aluminum Falcon? I was thinking the same thing.
She doesn't know it made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
This is all I'm saying.
Now, Jeff, did you consult with the dishwashing fairy, who is a professional Disney goer, about strategies?
I have read every single article. We are waking up at the butt crack of dawn. We will be there tomorrow when the rope drops. We will immediately try and secure our location.
Trample other children. Push
exactly.
Old people out of the way.
So this ride has no line and no fast pass. There is a virtual queue.
Oh.
So as soon as your tickets are active, you can go onto the app and request a boarding time.
Interesting.
And there's no line, there's no nothing. There's no you can either do that or wait in this 5-hour line. There isn't a line.
Well, that's kind of nice. So you're not just standing there in the stupid line all day. Yeah. All right. Well, great.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Chrissy, I don't know if you know this, but this is Star Wars.
I think I caught on. Yeah.
It's a movie that your sister watches a lot.
You talked about a Falcon.
They have an Enterprise, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It looks the
Live
same.
long and prosper.
Yeah. All right, good.
Mental, what are you working on other than chomping your pizza there?
yesterday morning, Chrissy goes,
call on the guy
Vicky
who's
goes out
chewing. That's me.
Yeah, exactly. There's 3 other people on the podcast. Vicky goes out to her car and gets the infamous click, 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 click of the dead battery.
Right.
So we go up to our local O'Reilly's.
Because Volkswagen, that's why.
Oh, yeah. And knowing that batteries are there, I was warned when I first moved here that this environment is very hard on batteries. So we went ahead and opted for the Optima yellow top. But when we got to our local O'Reilly's last night about 5:30, 6 o'clock, they were out. But the guy said, if you order in the next 20 minutes, it'll be on the truck. It'll be here tomorrow morning. So bright and early this morning at 7:25, I am parked outside of my local O'Reilly's. At 7:31, they opened the door. I walked in, and at 7:32, I walked out with an Optima yellow top. Exactly as promised. So thank you, hashtag you should totally sponsor us, local O'Reilly's on Flamingo Road. At 7:45, it was in Vicky's car, and I went off to work. Other than that, there was we posted up some what you're working on with me pulling the bed off the Toyota truck, and I have now got the world's worst case of while you're in there itis. And half that thing is disassembled now, and there is so much buildup of dirt, and oil kind of grabs dust and then lives on an block. Yes, there is. I've now had to sacrifice screwdrivers just to hack at the engine block in order to expose bolts that it is so caked over, and I'm not exaggerating when I say 2 inches, that you can't even find where brackets end and bolts are. You just have to kind of keep scraping and tapping until you find stuff. But I've gotten most of the air conditioning system pulled out of it because the condenser was gone anyway, and now I'm freeing up a lot of space under the hood.
Now it's going to leak worse. That stuff was holding it together. Watch out.
Right?
It probably was.
Yep.
But still, no rust. And none. Not even underside of the bed. 0 rust.
Excellent. Anything else going on?
There was a minor thing. I put it on the Instagrams. I picked up a new car this week. No big deal.
All right, good. Fantastic.
Where did you pick it up from?
Got delivered, right?
I was going to say, we shouldn't have showed up at your house.
It was. What was interesting is I put it on my personal Instagram and also on our Insta story, and the overwhelming response from our E1R fans was, "Oh man, good score! Oh, cool car! Oh, I'm totally jealous." On my personal Instagram, I was like, "Oh my God, what were you thinking? Why would you get that? What is that thing? Who would buy such an old car?"
That's fun. Oh, what?
Clearly, my family doesn't understand me.
Clearly, it's not an old car.
Well, did it arrive okay? It left in the snow, and it went through a hell of a trip to get there. Everything seemed all right? Everything good?
It arrived filthy, but the delivery driver, I guess being in the military, I was used to a lot more communication and a lot more rigid stuff. Montway Auto Transport did an excellent job. The car it arrived here 1 day late, which given that there was a blizzard that canceled my weekend plans, I have no complaints. So all across the Midwest, car got here 1 day late. It was quite dirty, but the delivery driver was great. He was very polite. Pulled up in front of my house and unloaded a series of really nice Lexuses, an Audi S5, some other nice end stuff. Very carefully backed it off of the double stack car hauler, put it in my driveway, handed me the bill of lading. I looked around it, and even after I cleaned it, there's nothing wrong with it. So I handed him the balance of the shipping fee in 20s. So if he gets pulled over, they're totally gonna, civil forfeiture that money. But yeah, and I've forgotten how much I love V8s. I sold the old Mercedes to get a Porsche, and I don't regret that. That was a great Porsche, but there's just something so immensely satisfying about a V8.
Well, we should, because, we might have a new listener every week. We should explain that Chris and Chrissy sold you their, let me think if I can get it right, 2007?
Yeah.
Wow. 2007 S63? No.
CLS 63 Mercedes.
I was
6.3 AMG, baby. And
in dark blue, which you never see them in dark blue.
No, I believe it is
Capri blue.
Capri blue, yes. Which in certain sunset light, almost black. It is wonderful. I didn't realize I could have the heated seat and the air conditioned seat on at the same time. That was awesome. So I had them fighting it out on the way home from work today. Yeah, it's just I joined a local the car wash here. They all just have they have the option of subscription services, so you can wash your car as much as you want. So that happened.
That's awesome.
It's actually also more environmentally friendly because you use 85% less water washing it at a car wash, and a good portion of that is also recycled water as opposed to washing it at home. I'll still take it to like one of those nice detailers, every now and again and get it done up. But right now it's just
that's what we did.
Not dirty.
Cool.
Good.
Awesome.
Glad you like your new purchase.
Yeah.
I miss it already.
Chrissy and totally. Chrissy, any movement yet on the car search? Well, I guess we'll toss it to y'all. What you working on?
That's right.
Oh, y'all.
Because clearing a space in the garage means Chrissy has to make a choice on a car.
Well,
there's no
now
rush.
Mine lives in the garage now, which is awesome. I have two spaces to pick from, actually.
Scooty has its own space in the garage right now.
Scooty has its own space. Yeah. The sub doesn't fit, so it's just.
I'm surprised the MG isn't there getting that welding done.
No, get out.
House projects. Yeah, well, we did look at a couple online, a couple different Mercedes color combinations and option combinations, trying to narrow it down a little bit. And honey, were we successful?
Were we? No.
No. I could tell already. No.
No.
Oh, it's such a hard decision.
The closest one is like in Harrisburg. It's like 60 miles away. So, and not the way we're going.
It's difficult.
Anyway.
E400 wagon still.
Yes. I don't know why. I can't let go of the Jag. It's difficult.
That's okay. Both of them are fine choices. It's just a matter of
I love that you have to apologize for liking a Jag.
I do.
Jaguars literally built an empire on people liking their cars.
Yeah, because no one would make an intelligent choice in the 70s to buy a Jag.
No,
I mean,
since its inception, Jaguar has been a purely emotional appeal, and good on them.
Yeah, that's why I feel like the Mercedes is going to be nicer. The interior is going to be nicer. It's going to be a nicer place to drive on the highway, but I feel like I'm missing some fun factor. Just feeling like it's just going to be comfy and nice, but if it's not as fast as the AMG, there's just like that.
Which it won't be because it's down.
No, I don't know.
It won't be.
150 horsepower.
I'm just saying.
As many people are finding, nothing is as fast as the AMG.
It is pretty fantastic, isn't it, though?
I'm not interrupting you, Chrissy. I'm sorry. I see you getting frustrated.
So that's what made the car fun, was because it was fast. It was pretty wallowy. It was not really good on track. So that's what made it fun. But now I won't have that in any car. So that's the problem. And color combo is really difficult because there's very popular colors in most of the other cars. Well, I mean, the Jag does not come in anything but black, white, and silver. It doesn't.
No,
I mean, they sold one.
No green.
No. No, then I was saying maybe I should just get it wrapped.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice.
I know. So and then the Mercedes, I don't want the white interior because it's white.
It's white, yeah.
Just can't do it. I'm pretty clean, but
you can't wrap the interior. It's
no,
not an option.
I can't get those grandma plastic seat covers on or anything.
You can, but exactly. Yeah. Now you're just sitting on garbage bags, and you could do that in a $1 hoopty, which
totally. So the tan is kind of meh. The brown is okay, but then you have to find it in the right exterior color, whatever. Again, this is I'm sure there's people rolling their eyes at me in the car. So I'm very sorry.
The problem is that you're more secure in your daily driver than Chris is.
Yes, I am.
Because you have your 3.
The Suburban works great, and now with the new stereo in it, that's nice. And then when the weather's nice, I'll just drive the NSX more. Shucks. Yeah. Damn, I have to go drive the supercar.
Until then, it's just wallow. Very fortunately, both of us work from home. We try to do it on opposite days. So if we're at home, the other one can drive the Mazda. So it's not so bad, but it's true. Until something happens to the Mazda, I have a hard time committing. But
and I will defend you, Chrissy, and I shouldn't have to, but to anyone that's rolling their eyes, it's you are driving your Mazda 3, the big block Mazda 3 that you bought new, have put 200 gajillion miles on.
42,000.
Swap the engine yourself. Mm-hmm. Well, the two of you did. And you have worked hard on your professional career. And if I'm not mistaken, when I met you two guys, you were still working professionally for the Girl Scouts. Yep. So no one has handed you anything. And yes, you're debating between a Jaguar and a Mercedes, but you worked hard to get there.
Oh, thank you. It's very nice of you. Okay, let's flip back to what you're working on, because that could be a whole show. Although that was the show. See ya. No, just kidding.
Thank you for downloading.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'll go. So I had a lot of travel last week. Then I cookie boothed a bunch this weekend. Then this week is a whole week with no travel, which was awesome. I said this week, I was like, I am not traveling this week. And then I've worked some. And then tonight and over the weekend, we've been prepping some food for this weekend where most of our team will be together in Atlantic City. And then tomorrow is the best day ever. That's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
In fact, February is our favorite birthday series of birthday months.
It all starts January 30th, right?
That's true.
Starts January 30th and works through mid-February. You know.
No, March. This is in March.
Yeah, March.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
So
right.
it's
close.
It's birthday season.
Birthday season! Yay!
Great. All right. Well, I've been working. No one's going to ask. I'm going. I've been working on housework. It's great.
Woo!
It's really wonderful when you unexpectedly have to do complete repaints of the master bedroom and bathroom that you weren't expecting to do or didn't really want to do either, when all you wanted to do was fix a couple little spots and touch the paint up. And the paint didn't quite match. It was close, but I could see it. Therefore, it's not good enough. So repaint the entire bedroom, repaint the entire bathroom. Of course, I have to pull everything off to do it instead of just taping and painting around things. So that's still in progress. Still need to put the bathroom back together. I need to weld a toilet paper holder onto the vanity.
Say that again for our listeners, just to make sure that they didn't misunderstand you.
I need to weld a toilet paper holder onto the vanity. Because I made the vanity. That. Yes, I made the vanity out of 1-inch steel tubes.
It has not had a paper towel holder ever. So that would be nice.
It did at one time, and that the toilet paper fit perfectly between two bits of metal.
Oh, and we plastic dipped the ends.
Right, and toilet paper has gotten a little bit wider, but that 1/4 inch is just enough that it no longer fits in the spot that I designed it for in the vanity. So I have to weld a new piece onto it, because it's 1-inch square tubing with a teak outdoor restaurant tabletop, and then a bowl sink and a faucet, whatever. Anyway. Welding that on.
Those who follow Stephanie Schrader on Instagram are all going, yes, toilet paper is too big, which I don't get that rant, but okay.
Okay.
What? Okay.
Anyway, well, unless you get the
It is
Charmin
once a month, Stephanie Schrader will rant on Instagram about the size of a toilet paper roll because they're too big for her 70s bathrooms, that she loves 70 tiles bathroom because rolls have gotten thicker.
Yes. I will now understand what you're saying.
Okay. I also tried to swap the radio I took out of my Suburban into Snowflake because Snowflake had 5 CDs jammed into it. It was constantly trying to chew on that number 3.
My parents were saying that does like a little song, and they were like, it just does this, and they were both dancing to like the whatever crunching noises it used to make.
Yeah. So I found out that from starting in 2003, GM actually VIN locks the radios. So you have to have a Tech 2 to allow it to have a new GM radio in it. So I then pulled the radio back out, took the one that came with Snowflake with the CD stuck in it, took it all completely apart, got all the CDs out of it, put it back together, and put it back in the car. So it no longer chews on the CDs. So I have Mental's various assorted mixtape CDs that I'm going to give back to him when I see him next time.
I'm saying let's do them first. It's some gold in there, man.
Okay, sounds good.
Sure.
All right. Jeff, get us out of here. What else is going on?
Sure. So I actually got to play with the old Android Auto myself there, because in Florida, it's rental car. So that means it's another edition of
Guess the Rental.
Guess the Rental. So Jennifer and I do not belong to any rental car club. So in Expedia, we just kind of fired up the cheapest thing we could find. And we went to Dollar Rental Car. and we got a mid-size, which was this is your hint. This is the hint part of the game.
Okay.
It was listed as Hyundai Sonata, Nissan Sentra, or similar.
Aha! So since you're giving us all the options, I'm guessing it's neither of the named vehicles.
Your internet is terrible. Just saying.
Fine to me. Your internet's terrible at picking up my internet.
No, you're stupid.
No, you're a towel.
You're a towel. So I'm guessing it's
can,
neither of the actual named options. It's neither Hyundai nor it's not the or. It falls into the or similar category.
I could tell you everything that was in the row, if you think that would help.
No, because you did send us a picture of the shifter. And I thought I had it nailed until you gave us that piece of information. I was going to go with Hyundai Elantra.
Elantra. Didn't he say Sonata?
He said,
sorry,
but
Sonata.
But it doesn't matter. It's Elantra or Sonata
Pretty
or
much the same thing.
Whatever. I'm going to go Kia Optima.
Oh, I would.
Ooh.
I would like to. Oh, I hope he's not. Doesn't have a Kia. I hate Kias.
Unless they're lemons racing, then you love them.
Then we just get to watch them change engines repeatedly.
I wonder if can they put it like an Accord?
Honda doesn't do fleet sales.
No.
And by the Hyundai Sonata, not similar to Honda Accord.
All right.
Let's go Nissan.
I'm sensing domestic, and I want to say 4-door Ford.
They don't make any anymore.
Yeah, but they still had a bunch that they sold. Whatever the Focus evolved to.
No, nothing.
Their little Econobox 4-door.
No, there was a Chevy Sonic in the row.
So.
This is hard.
Yeah, I'm out. I got nothing.
So there was.
Any other clues before we go?
So there were a ton of Sentras. There was one Camry. There was a ton of Sonatas. There was a 4-door Ranger and a Kia Soul.
Okay, so you ended up with.
You went Soul?
You didn't get the Ranger.
No, why?
I wanted the Ranger.
Duh.
The wife vetoed.
So what'd you get?
Fair. Okay.
We went with the Sonata.
Oh.
So the Camry was beat. It had like a bazillion miles on it. It was dirty. So we went with this.
It's a rental car.
I know. No. It had like 40,000 miles on it, and it was like worn. So the Sonata had like 5,000, so we took it.
What do you think?
It's nice. I don't drive. Jen lived in Orlando, so she's been doing all the driving. It's a nice car. Nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
She tried to talk me into the Soul.
No,
but we already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we already had
got
our
your
bags.
hamster outfits, both of you.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
We had our bags in the Sonata, and she was like looking in the Soul, like maybe we should take that instead.
No.
I'm like, all right, I'll move the bags. She's like, no, just take this. So.
I'm sure she looked like that.
All right.
Black Sonata, very nice.
Attention. News and notes time. News and notes.
Oh my gosh, I have so many news and notes here, and I'm like dying while I read it. So a couple of months ago when we went to SEMA, we actually had a story before we went to SEMA about the Low Volume Manufacturers Act, where Chris and I talked about his low cost, and basically SEMA was suing the NHTA because they were not making the law that says that small volume manufacturers can produce 325 cars a year. So it's still being fought in the law. It's still working. But this is the most important thing. DeLorean Motor Company. Yes, DeLorean, who bought all of the licensing for DeLorean based in Humble, Texas, has confirmed that they are going to build 325 or whoever new DMC-12s. So there's an article in Hagerty, and it's quoted here where it says the new DeLoreans should be worth the wait Built from a mix of new old stock and brand new parts, the cars could get a 350 horsepower engine and an upgraded interior with modern audio and connectivity. They say the bodies will conform closely to the 1981 to 1983 originals, but with modern headlights. So there it is. Low volume manufacturing is going to happen. It is going to happen in Texas, unless, of course, it all falls apart, which it usually does with these companies.
Yep.
The DeLorean's been profitable for a number of years.
Well, they're selling all the parts to keep the other ones alive.
And they built an electric version. They were pioneering the work
Mr.
on the
Fusion.
LS swaps.
Yeah.
How do you do an electric DeLorean without a Mr. Fusion? Really?
Really?
Okay.
Well, they basically were rejuvenating original DeLoreans with original VINs.
Yep.
Correct.
So this is going to be at up to 325 brand new VINs, brand new DeLoreans.
We'll see it when it happens.
Okay.
Get your puffy vests down to Texas and buy a DeLorean.
Oh, okay, good.
Excellent.
Okay, well, the Super Bowl is coming this weekend, and as you may know, WeatherTech usually has an ad purchased. This year, the WeatherTech CEO is buying an ad to thank the vets at University of Wisconsin-Madison who saved his dog Scout, who also appeared in the 2019 WeatherTech Super Bowl ad and in all the prints and whatever car magazine you have on your toilet tank. The ad is basically nothing about WeatherTech. It just tells you Scout's story of his cancer and treatment and asks people to donate to the School of Veterinary Science at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
You know what would have been a better use of that money? It's like it's like $20 million for the Super Bowl ad. Just donate that to the damn school if that's what you want.
Right?
It's more than they're going to get otherwise.
You know what? How many
Right?
cup phones can he really be selling? That's what I
Right.
want to know.
Give people a bang.
Well,
I
we'll
was
see.
actually going to remark because that the owner of WeatherTech is known to be a bit
Eccentric?
gruff and yes, a bit misogynist and sexist in person. And if he didn't have a ton of money, nobody would put up with him sponsoring stuff. But he's been across the board. Or the company has. They've been good for every racetrack that they've bought. They've been good for IMSA. They're doing good things. So who knows? Maybe he'll actually exceed $20 million of donations to the veterinary school.
Well, the dog is uber cute, and the commercial will make you shed a little tear. So,
Aww.
oh, wait, the dog lives. Let me not
Good.
bury the dog.
Right.
Uh,
We know that. You
so
saved me.
anyway, I don't know how this happened again, but we have once again fooled a major automotive show that we are actually.
You guys held that until I got here and signed up on that one.
We have three of us will be attending the Philadelphia Auto Show next Friday. I assume you two can make it during press hours.
Pre-licked. All of the cars will be pre-licked.
I find it interesting.
The shift knobs will still be there.
It's only 3 hours. Like it's 9 to noon. That's what the press gets. And I looking at thing. I was just thinking about what we're going to look at, and I noticed that once again this year BMW is not participating. They weren't there last year. They're not there this year. But even more, Mercedes-Benz will not be there.
Get out.
Really? So it's been a couple of years since I've been to the Philadelphia show. The wife, the son, and I always go to New York. It's part of our family tradition, so we usually don't skip Philly.
We'll see if we can get press passes to New York too. Double check with whoever their person is, because sometimes they have a breakfast beforehand and they'll get some of the manufacturers to talk to you during the breakfast. And also usually that 3 hours, it's a bit of a guided, like the manufacturers have presentations they want you, which is actually nice because you'll get into some of the cars that are locked when the public is in there.
That's fun.
Which is how
yes.
at the Atlanta Auto Show we got an in-depth look at the new Mazda 3.
Okay.
Because they locked them once the public was in.
Oh, they wouldn't even let me see it. They wouldn't even open the door so I could see in it. So that's a thing.
But now you're a member of the automotive press.
Oh, so we always go to Philly. And Philly, Mercedes is always in the lobby in the.
It's usually Mercedes and
out area,
Lexus has the special area, This year, Mercedes is not there, so Lincoln and Volvo are splitting the other half of the special area that Lexus is
Oh,
in.
that's a shame because we that's what
I
made
actually
us
would like to go see Mercedes. this
consider
time.
making.
Yeah.
Oh well,
You're a potential customer.
exactly.
Yep.
But yes, take lots of cards and talk to those people in case they need somebody for some long-term testing.
Yeah, I'm sure these spokesmodels there can set that right up for us.
Actually, no, you get the factory reps, or at least the regional representatives.
Maybe at the press time, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
When
exactly. Yeah, no. Then they go hide during the actual show time.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome.
Upcoming races.
So, Lemons is going to be at Barber for the start of the 2020 season. Thanks to host number 5 for the entry list. They are 100 cars at Barber Motorsports Park. Lovely Barber. Kind of miss going there. It's a nice track. Mental's going to be there, though, so he'll tell us all
Hell
about
yeah,
it.
he is.
Yeah. So there's 23 BMWs.
Boring.
A little slow on the draw there, guys. 4 Miatas, 8 Hondas.
Equally boring.
Yep, 4 P cars and 2 other P cars. That's right, 2 Pintos and a pair of Dodge Daytonas. Hell yeah.
One of them raced by Don Dokken.
Oh, is one of them the
Dokken,
Dokken
man.
Daytona?
Yeah, the y'all Daytona.
Yeah.
So Eric says, hey, car number 45 has a great name. I don't know. He didn't tell us what that was, but hey, that's a great name.
Oh, he did actually keep reading.
Okay. Car number 5, GRM, has Tom Lamino's old Fox. That's terrible. That's such
Oh yeah.
awful. Oh, I know they think they found the answer. They think this is going to be so great. Oh,
No.
that car.
What a bad decision.
That car is so bad.
I think the paint looks pretty good though. Didn't they? I think they painted
Yeah,
it.
I think they've made
Yeah,
it
but
very
it
pretty.
it was painted pretty when Tom had it.
Oh, I think it went downhill with the next owner.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It'll look very nice parked in the paddock. So that's good. The number 8 is the AMX OMG, which is the 7/8 scale AMX bodied Z3 that is very
Love
well
that
driven and
car.
very quick. That car's back. Number 9, the Thin Blue Swine might have to drive their Thunderbird
Thunderbird.
on the street to the race because somebody stole their trailer in broad daylight recently. So
Yes,
That's
it was
a
on the
shame.
news. Actually, they had that on the several of the Facebook pages.
don't
Yeah.
steal trailers. That's a shame.
So here's your number 45.
Yeah. Caddy STS from the Performance Engineered North Star Integrated Systems.
Or
It's an
PE
Alice.
and an IS.
Yes. Yep.
It's so well thought through.
It's great.
Yep.
Yes. Speaking of crazy events going on, Lemons Rally, it's going on right now. They were actually covered on the local 6 o'clock news in
saw
Roanoke,
that.
Virginia. So the link to that is in our show notes.
Not
You
a lot
can
going
follow
on in the
that.
middle of Virginia. there.
Yeah. You can follow the internet or follow them on the Instagram with the hashtag Lemons Rally. I've been looking through them. I've been hacking a couple. I think you guys got some. So we've got some favorites. One of mine I like is the 3 Bavarios in a car, all one word scrunched together. They're doing the rally with their infant. He's a lovely, happy-go-lucky child, and he's got his Elmo shirt, and mom's wearing her Cookie Monster giant hoodie. So they're selling that whole deal. There's the Blue Diamond Hoopty in this another big GM wagon, and they've got it all themed up in WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes, including the live news and turkeys on the back of it. It's really well done. But when you get on the Instagram, just don't look really closely at the frame because it is frightening.
Well, if you're rallying in a car that doesn't frighten you, you probably aren't doing it right. So I love the Duke Arrives. The Duke Arrives, that's all one word, is rocking an alarmingly accurate caddy tribute to Sir Isaac Hayes' character in the original Escape from New York. If you don't remember this, it's the one that had the actual chandeliers on the front fenders.
I've wanted to run this in Lemons for so many years
Yeah.
in race,
Yeah.
but we've never had a good big sedan to do. I don't know if you can do it with anything but a caddy, but even if we had I don't care what it is, any kind of
Big
sedan,
Yeah.
If you stuck big enough chandeliers on the front and made it silver into the thing, it would be good enough.
Yeah, these are pretty big. They're pretty large, and they're in the news story, so you can see them like driving down the street, the chandeliers swaying.
I think it'd be great to see a car cornering on track and the chandeliers kind of hanging to the sides.
Well, and you'd have to wire them so they were on at night, right?
Oh yeah,
Of course.
all the time. Come on.
What's the point? Actually, yeah, all the time. But apparently they don't have a reverse gear. And Eric was posting on the Lemons Rally Facebook that they're stuck on a road because they can't go backwards and they can't turn around. So they need somebody literally just to hook a tow rope and drag them 20 feet.
No, I was going to say, like, you can get away with most parking lots of finding somewhere that you don't necessarily have to pull to back up, but yeah, it's a
or
problem.
driving up on a hill or up on one of those curb park at the curb stops enough to be able to push yourself back.
We've all, it just requires some planning, but just every now and again, life throws a curve at you like on a rally.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So Team Whiskey Tango, also one word, appears to be battling a leaking suspension. They have an 80s diesel-powered Caddy Luxo coupe, and it has some sort of hydraulic suspension that is leaking all over the place. So they're throwing out the please help me at several different locations. On the opposite end of the spectrum is Scrappy are the Fugees in a
Scrapyard refugees.
Oh,
Scrappy are the Fugees.
I'll have S words for 100. I'll take swords.
An anal bum cover.
Oh gosh,
Shuck it,
scrapyard,
Trebek.
scrapyard refugees in their smart car. Look, I don't know who they are, so I don't have a clue what they're doing. I do know Giant Dave. Giant Dave is out there, Caddy Wrecker on the IG. He's in there in his Chevy C10 square body Chevy named Chet, which he like plasti dipped a like tealy green and got a bed insert RV like camper insert for free. I'm sure that wasn't like dirty at all.
No.
I'm sure he cleaned it really well. Oh wait, it's Giant Dave we're talking about here. I don't know that he needs to.
Cleaned it. Oh my god! A year ago, when I had to drive his little Acura, I was like, I'm going to catch a social disease in this car.
And that's from you.
Yeah.
What are the dirt?
I drive a trash car 9 days out of 10.
That's an upgrade from his previous setup where he took like someone or he gave him or a cheap pop-up camper that he permanently mounted to a bigger trailer so that he had like
it was
his
like a
grandma's
homeless camp.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of homeless camps, Van Master Flash is rocking a nice factory Dodge conversion van. That's a great way to go. The first time I ever went on Crapcan Rally was in a conversion van. Fugly the Wonder Van. May she rest in peace. Last we saw her, some hippies bought her and were taking her to Burning Man. I don't think she made it. So, anyway, General Roscoe is a dual personalities Dukes of Hazzard tribute with the General on one half and Hazzard County Police Cruising on the other, all painted on a Crown Vic.
Saw that. Love that.
Yep.
Yes.
Terry Partners is an earlier Crown Vic and Black and Men guys. Find them at Tomstat. Spires Joe is a multi-rally veteran who ran against Mental, Dr. Florida Man, and Steph in Texas, but is now cruising in a Ford Super Duty flatbed, lovingly called Critter. Though he can pull the people with no reverse. That's good.
I keep trying to read all these things to figure out how else I can say them because that just
because you don't want to be scrappy. Hard the Fugees.
Hard refugees.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Mental and Jeff's Heart is probably the I could have probably figured this out. Save the Wankles, all one word, and their hella sweet unmolested 79 RX8, that's pretty exciting.
RX7.
I'm sorry, RX7. But my money is the win with Chew.Big.Red, their dedicated team in a matching Shake and Bake Talladega Nights driver suits. This is a level of commitment it takes to do well in these rallies. Also, their IG posts are great, so are their classic Chevy wagon painted as the theme. Their mascot, a stuffed mountain lion, naturally. So remember, if it ain't your first, it's your last.
First, your last. That's from Talladega Nights.
If you ain't first, you're last. Got
Chrissy
it.
hasn't seen that movie.
I haven't. I have. It's very dumb.
Let's just say that anyone doing that theme for anything
You win.
No, just stop it. It's so dumb. It's so overplayed. Just cut it out.
It is overplayed, but on the rally it's a little underplayed, and they are full tilt. They have done everything in the one of them's got the Old Spice driver suit, the other one's got the Wonder Bread. It's his girlfriend.
It's not hard to get those.
I have that upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but then just the whole thing from the Chew Big Red is from the outtakes at the end of when he was doing all the commercials.
I will say 7-8 years ago, every third car at a Lemons race was Laughing Clown malt liquor. So that's kind of disappeared. You don't see that
Karen the
nearly as
Mountain
often.
Lion.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
To all the rally participants, especially those who didn't mention, find Mental at Barber. We included a special package of our super new cool E1R beer koozies, and he'll be handing out some to those to whoever he specifies as awesome. And if you have a nice road rally report from the rally, let us know what's going on our social media.
Cool. Also this weekend is the 24 Hours of Orlando kart race. Kart endurance race. Our guest from last week, Patrick Wilmot, is part of a team racing for Children's of Alabama, a pediatric cancer research hospital. The race starts noon Eastern time on Saturday, and Children's of Alabama will have a live camera on their kart. Search YouTube for Simcraft 24 Hours of Orlando. That's SIMCRAFT, one word, and you can follow all the action. It's also not too late to donate. We'll have the link in the show notes, but if you just do racingforchildrens.org.
Now, in some recent events this past weekend, our rally correspondent Santiago ran the Snowdrift Rally, and he took, wait for it, first place, baby, in the limited two-wheel drive and 8th overall, beating some all-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, he put a picture of his 2 foot wide, 6 inch wide, 2 foot long, shelf of trophies, I guess, in his bedroom, and was like, I think I need a bigger shelf.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, bigger shelf. We ready for listener feedback? Anyone have anything else on
listener feedback?
All right.
Listener feedback time.
Yes, listener feedback time. Brian D reached out to us on Facebooks, and he said, and this is great, quote, "Hey guys, funny story. I listened to your podcast yesterday for the first time. I figure I'd start with the most recent episode, and episode 1 is a good introduction."
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Don't go back and listen to 1. He enjoyed it, by the way. He says
he's lying.
He said, "You probably." He said, "You guys met on the Babe Rally?" Big question mark. My friend Dan and I started running Lemons in 2019 at the pit race and at Road Atlanta. They are a Rust cartel with the 65 Fairlane, which won the IOE at Pittsburgh. Well, it turns out 10 years ago, he was on the Babe Rally in a janky but oddly reliable Range Rover, and he's pretty sure he remembers us. The names kind of stick out. He kind of remembers that Chris and Chrissy were in a Fiero.
Yeah.
Small.
Yeah, we were. Crazy.
I remember that guy's Range Rover because I kind of liked Range Rovers, and I had a Land Rover. It's like, oh, that's sweet. He's got a Range Rover Classic. I think at one of the stops, you're in the South, there's ditches, and I think he decided to drive through a ditch and got the Range Rover stuck because
you think that you can go through the.
Oh, I'm going to drive through this ditch. I've got a Range Rover. Isn't this going to be fun? And then you find out the wonders of open differentials when you've got opposite corners lifted up.
5,000-pound SUVs on street tires.
Probably. Right, and you're bringing crap for the week.
But they got pulled themselves out, and they drove that damn thing all around. I'm sure they were very comfortable, but I wouldn't want to pay their fuel bill, that's for sure. But that's a brave move, taking a cheap Range Rover. Well, that's back when you could still get a Range Rover Classic for very short money. Now, they're either gone or they're big money with all the older old 4x4s. Mental.
Actually, all of the cheap, questionable lineage ones, they've all migrated to Arizona and Nevada.
Well, those are the only ones left. The ones all rusted away.
Yeah, but you could still pick these things up of, sketchy heritage. It's usually runs, chewed up interior, gajillion miles, $1,200. If it's below $1,000,
you don't want it.
Well, no, it's never a head gasket. It's always thermostat, and I'm using my fingers to quote because it keeps overheating.
Sure,
Which
it's
means
the thermostat.
head gasket.
Yeah, which means warped head, which means just throw the boat anchor out.
Slip liner is usually the thing, but yeah.
All right.
All right.
And also, Carl A. asked, did anyone else check off their mental tells a story that goes nowhere at the end of the MSR wrap-up video?
Should have.
Yeah.
I hope they did.
You know who never tells a story that goes nowhere?
Sure.
Chrissy's mom. Hi, Carol.
That's pretty true.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So main
That's the
topic
tube.
time.
Attention. Time for the main topic. Attention.
I don't even know how to start the main topic. So we're going to talk about Crapcan Rallies because it came up. The very first Lemons event this week is the Crapcan Rally, Moscow to wherever the hell they're going. Who knows?
Leeds, Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell it's ending this year. So I know it's ending at Barber. But I don't know how you like start a rally in Moscow, Pennsylvania, and then the next year just find like another town named Moscow in Virginia.
There's a thing called Wikipedia for
Google?
things like that, you know.
Well, and those are all reasonable solutions, but I think you guys are totally underestimating the mind of Eric.
True.
Sure.
So
So
weird local history, small
Yeah.
town history.
Yeah. It's really good at that.
I love the bridge that they went over the other day. So anyway, we wanted to talk about our Crapcan Rally stories since we all started on Crapcan Rallies 150 years ago. We mostly were on the Babe Rally. I should give some quick history. The Babe Rally was a rally sponsored by a Brit in America, and it was BABE, Big Apple to Big Easy. It had nothing to do with hot women or anything like that. It was not Babe.
I disagree. I just got back from the desert, and I was looking good.
It worked out for me. I don't know about anybody else, but
I'm
Pretty sure I was sweaty and like pretty dirty.
I
Even
don't-
if you didn't shower.
think Justin understood that, like, in American, when you call something like a Babe Rally, people are like, is that like some kind of stripper thing? Like,
I don't think he understood a lot of things.
No.
Well, I
Yeah.
think marketing was definitely not his forte.
No.
But marketing and communication, not his thing.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first. I'll tell the first story. So the very first Babe Rally in America, Chris already mentioned that he was there with my brother, Jim Thwaite, some random people they just kind of threw together from the GRM board, and you're in a lovely. You want to describe the vehicle?
It's an 83 Chevy G20 conversion van. It was not a high top, but it had a lovely wooden handmade bar built into the side, and we found a magic mushroom mirror. It had a 305 with a TH350 and red shag carpeting everywhere.
And red velour seats.
Yeah. Oh, terrible. And it was a rolling biohazard.
Oh, I was going to say, how clean was it?
We did our best, but the outside had a lot of hand painted wood trim on it, and it was actually painted. It was not stickers. It was hand painted. It was
like a cherry sunburst. If anybody knows what a cherry sunburst guitar looks like, it was like beautiful.
And it made it there. It made it back. Limited repairs, but it was hurting by the time we got home. Anyway.
So this is the very first rally. Nobody really knew what to expect. And it was taking off from the Long Island Hotel where it usually took off from in Long Island, New York.
Staten Island,
sorry. And I went to like see it because I couldn't take the time off. And I so badly wanted to jump in those cars, but I couldn't. So I was kind of like hanging with Justin because I was like, hey, you need a hand. You need a hand handing out the thing. And, nobody really knew what was going on. So he like blew a horn and he handed out the very first like game for the very first day. And he was like, why aren't they leaving? And I was like, I don't know. Why aren't they leaving? So I kind of like wandered over to the van. I was like, hey guys, why didn't you leave? And you were all kind of like hunched over the paper going, I don't get this.
Like, what are we supposed to do?
What are we supposed to do? Like, you didn't understand what the rally was. So it turns out that being a Brit, the very first challenge and the very first rally he ever throws in Americans was a snooker challenge. And it assumed that the Americans knew how to play snooker pool. So it has something to do with the combination of how you hit the pool
Colors
balls
and something,
snooker. Like, literally, I went back to Justin. I was like, Justin, they're Americans. They've never played snooker. They don't even know what the hell you said.
Yeah.
And then slowly people started leaving the parking lot. And he was like, well, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, well.
Yay.
Now, for our listeners that might just be picking up this, when we say rally, instantly you think of Colin McRae or, well, in our mind, Santiago, blazing through the forest. And this, in both the Babe Rally, the short-lived Asphalt Adventures that tried to pick it up where it left off, and now what Lemons is doing, automotive speed competitions. In fact,
they are not automotive speed competition. Just want to clarify because Mental's internet kicked off there for a second.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, they're not. In fact, you get into a lot of trouble if you start driving like a lunatic on one of these events. These are giant rolling scavenger hunts and piles of crap.
Yeah, originally Babe Rally was $250 cars, which in 2006 was possible actually, and it was you got to buy the car for $250. Whatever you do after that, no one really cares as long as that your car is appropriately janky. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's where we all started in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And we all have some really good times that we had on those rallies. Chrissy, I think we ran it all the way up until 2011-ish, maybe. I think that's when we stopped. Maybe 10, somewhere around 10 or 11.
And 06 was the first one?
06 was the first one.
Yeah, my first one was in 07. And that was the Saab. And then I got the Miracle Miata in 08.
Yep.
Still have that one.
And then you had the E30.
And the E30.
Connie.
You could buy E30s for $500 back then.
Or was it, Back to Miracle.
Yeah, I did Miracle twice.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that was it. Then we all got tired of it. Tired of Justin's BS and his going out of his way to make it not fun. Oh, we had the Saab too that one year.
I think one of the problems was that he didn't change the route enough. So we didn't see new things.
Or the challenges, but
and then the challenges started
the challenges were not fun anymore too. They were arduous, terrible, tedious, masochistic work, and that made it no fun. So most people that actually won the rally ended up never going back because they said, well, "What the hell?" So anyway. So let's talk about fun things in these rallies, really, because I think Eric...
they were more fun than you could possibly imagine.
And I think Eric has taken the best part of those, though.
The competition part of the rally wasn't the fun. It was the traversing America in the packs, in shitty cars, doing stupid things.
Yes, and finding other people to run with. Like we always ran in our group, which was nice, with the CBs. So
I was just going to say that. I was
fun fact time from
fun
Jeff.
Facts. And if we was getting quiet, I used to, because by then we had smartphones, so you could look up fast facts about towns we were going through, and we'd give we had joke hour too. I'm pretty sure we had
who's running out of gas first. Talking to the cars. That was where all the fun was. Absolutely. So
it is definitely the bonding experiences. I used to love the parking lots, and I think the Lemons rallies have really gotten back to that spirit of it's the voyage, not the destination. And they are now not just actively trying to get everybody together at night, but this one even has a couple of not mandatory, but lunch meetups where people can get together and just swap tales of misery.
Yeah, because I think all the hotel parties in Babe Rally started off, they weren't expecting that, but we're Americans. We love to tailgate and drink and do stuff like that, so we did, and it was great. So let's give a couple specific other stories that we've got about this whole thing. I mean, I can go off of one. This is 07. We had Rusty the Dung Beetle. Where's our car?
It was the worst car ever.
It was.
I'm going to say that was probably
in 5 minutes. You're going to say another car was the worst car ever.
Right?
But go ahead.
Well, Connie is worse in a different way. Rusty was just so incredibly janky, but continued to run most of the time. It was the parts car for the South Jersey Volkswagen Club as a 73 Beetle. The body wasn't really all that attached to the floor anymore. Jim was good at Volkswagens. He got it running again, and then we made some seat mounts. I put some old CRX seats I had in it because it had no seats. It had no carpet, had no nothing. No stereo, so we made a stereo out of a Tidy Cat's litter plastic bucket and just stuck some speakers in that, and that was our radio.
That radio,
I remember that you had that for a while.
Car to car.
Oh yeah, that radio kept going different places. We put it on a long cable so we could put it outside of the car and play stuff at night in the parking lots, and so yeah, it was a terrible car. It wouldn't really go over 65. 4-wheel drum brakes.
You didn't really want it to because you could see the ground.
Oh yeah,
had so much rust in it that you could see through.
So taking that on, through the Blue Ridge Mountains and Tail of the Dragon was fun. Going up and down those hills, especially then in Tennessee, we kind of lost brakes. They were hanging up and they were really becoming a problem. So in a parking lot, those all came apart, and Jim was trying to have the wheel cylinder part in his hand, and he's scraping crud off the wheel cylinder with a razor blade while we started a new tradition of sit and eat chips while watching someone else work. Which,
at one point, he sacrificed a toothbrush from his kit and was kind of repolishing the brake cylinders with the toothpaste and toothbrush because that was going to help.
And this is before smartphones. So, you just had your regular dumb phone and you couldn't look anything up. Yep, and a map.
Paper maps.
And we had a number. There used to be a thing called the AIRSWeb. It's the Air-Cooled Interstate Rescue Service. So it's a bunch of old air-cooled Volkswagen people who, were on a list of, if you need help, let me know and I will help you. So we found a guy locally. He was an hour away. And we, explained to him what was going on. He was all excited to help. He was like, someone actually called me. This is great. So he was going to go get the parts from someone and bring them back to us, but we got it running enough. And he said, okay, fine. You're not far from this parts place. It's it was called South Hills Volkswagen or something like that, right?
Black Hills. Yeah. No, it was Import Auto Parts.
Yes.
Black Hills Import Auto Parts.
So but it was on the other side of the mountains. So we said, all right, we got to get through. So we went through the mountains and, drive down the hills. It's all right, have compression braking as much as I could, just barely using the brakes. We made it through all that. We get to the other side and following the map, and we'd called and we spoke to Juanita, the Volkswagen lady. And so she was expecting us. And so we're following the directions. We say, this can't be right.
All of a sudden, it was back road to back road to back. I was like, we're going to die.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a guy with a banjo who needs a liver, and we are all going to die.
And we are in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, North Carolina at that point. Who knows where it is? Doesn't matter. And so we end up at this house of Juanita, the Volkswagen lady, and her basement was completely full of Volkswagen parts. And Jim was geeking out because there were so many weird.
This is not Jim, Jeff's brother.
No,
just
Jim.
Make sure
Jim is Wade.
Jim,
Yeah, Jim's
right,
Wade,
but,
yeah.
but our listeners don't know who he is. So that's making sure.
He was geeking out because the thing was her basement was full of weird NOS long discontinued aftermarket parts.
See,
all kinds of
I thought
stuff.
it was an outbuilding. I thought she lived in a tar paper shed that had all the weird dogs in it.
I remember going into a basement.
No. I think it was a basement, but I don't think that was her house.
Oh,
I think that was just the parts place.
Yeah, in the South, it it can be hard to tell the difference between a house
and a shed.
Bus and a shed.
Right, and a camper. Yeah. So anyway, Juanita, the Volkswagen lady, was about the size of a Volkswagen, and
she's shaped like a Volkswagen.
She was, and
round in the fenders.
Yeah. The
low
basement
to the ground.
Didn't have a whole lot of organization in it that anyone else would recognize. It had a series of paths exactly the size and shape of Juanita through it. And
yes, it did.
So we told her what we needed, and she just wandered through and, picked them out here. She knew all of the unlabeled things on every shelf and handed us everything we needed. And it was all new brakes, everything. And it was about $90 for an entire new set of brakes for this Beetle. And none of us had any cash left, but I had in my wallet, folded up, a personal check because I like to keep one there just in case, right? So she takes my out-of-state personal check from these random fools going to her on a Saturday, like some Saturday afternoon in the middle of nowhere, and she's like, "Yeah, it's no problem." So,
Yeah.
I
seem to
that's
remember-
that's gearheads. That's car
Yeah.
people, man. That's the community. That's what they'll do.
So I seem to remember Jim was also geeking out on like all of these like NOS speed parts that she had.
Oh yeah, she had like
And
a
he
manifold
bought,
to
like,
adapt like a 4-barrel carb to a Volkswagen. Because that seems like a good idea.
Like Solexes and all this other stuff. I remember I'm pretty sure he bought like a clear plastic distributor cap.
I remember
Because
those. Those.
He said it was like it would look like lightning. Oh,
Exactly.
I don't think he installed it either. I think he just kind of threw it in his kit.
Yeah, probably. so that was one need of the Volkswagen lady and getting Rusty through there. So that was good times. Who's got another one?
I want to say something else about Rusty is Jim Thwaite can paint a car like nobody's business. So he was going to paint Rusty before it went on the rally. So he started sanding it because that's what you do before you paint a car that you pull out of a field. And it had like 4 or 5 previous paint jobs. And it turned this awesome multicolor sanding, like, I don't even know how to describe
like natural
the color
patina tie-dye, kind of.
It was definitely like a predominantly blue, white, orange,
Some red.
steel red rust tie-dye. It was an amazing looking vehicle.
Yeah.
It cured me of any potential desire to own anything air-cooled Volkswagen. That's for sure. Same with the Rolls-Royce, cured me of any desire to own like that Bentley Turbo R that I always wanted. Once I knew how similar they are, I said, nope, I'm good. Thank you very much.
That's funny.
All right.
It's interesting you talk about that. They had that network. I remember when I was living in Colorado, also in the era before smartphones, I was a rabid BMW, technically an oil head, but an airhead, BMW air-cooled twins. They had the same book. You could buy the book, and it was a list of phone numbers with alphanumeric codes in the back that said what they could offer: place to work on your bike, place to pitch a tent, a room to sleep in, and it was a name and a phone number, and it was only available to BMW enthusiasts because BMW guys like to drive around the country.
Yeah,
and
I
remember submitting my name.
Miles on them.
Yeah, I remember being published in it, but no one ever called me. I probably would have freaked out if somebody would have called me too.
Yep. All right, we got to keep this going. We got lots of stories, and we're already an hour into the show, so. Somebody else pick up a story. What's a good one?
We talked about it's a great scavenger hunt. It's a great scavenger hunt, and the Babe rallies, and they're doing the same thing now with the Lemons rallies. Involved a lot of costuming, and that didn't always go over very well in some of the rural areas you guys were in. What was dude? Did you guys weren't you wearing a dress and a convertible Mustang once?
Well,
So
yes,
not-
and-
Well, yes.
Yeah, we wore a lot
sorry.
of dresses.
Yeah.
So one year the rule was, and each year they would tell you what costume day was going to be so that you could kind of put it together. So one year it was Elvis, so all of us dressed up like different Elvises. One year it was, one year I had gay Matador. I had a gold lame Elvis. It was fantastic.
And that was Speedway Elvis from that
Speedway
movie,
Elvis,
right?
yeah. So, but one year it was Wizard of Oz, and there was a rule that you had to have one Dorothy per car. So on the chat boards before the rally, because there were not many women on this rally, to say the least, it was decided that everybody should just be Dorothy. So the rally ended up being, there was probably like 40 cars. So that was probably like 75, 80, maybe close to 90 people. There were 85 Dorothys, like one Tin Man, one Lion.
And the Tin Man didn't plan that. He just was using anti-seize the night before.
That's true.
Yeah, he just
I
went
think
with it.
I think there were more than non-Dorothys.
There were some scarecrows. There was
a
because I was the witch,
too.
Yeah.
and
Allison was Dorothy.
But it was
Anyway.
mostly Dorothy.
So, and If we're doing costume stories, Chrissy's got a good one.
I do have a good one. So, the one year, our first year that I went on the rally, I was not dealing with Chris at the time. It was Superman year. So I got my cool Superman, Superwoman outfit. And, so there was another couple with us. So my ex-husband and, another couple were all in our Saab 900 painted like a fighter jet.
Fighter jet.
Yeah, because we were
born from jets.
We were born from jets, right? So
Bjorn from Jets.
I think we were born from
That would have
jets,
been
but whatever.
funny, Baby Bjorn from Jets.
Right? Okay, so we were not. So we were all in our Superman outfits, and we're driving through West Virginia. So West Virginia, I want to say that has a lot, whatever it is classified as, or whatever it's talked
Redneck.
about. It is, or at least there are plenty of places that are. There's the mountains of West Virginia. They're not wrong. So we stopped.
It's not a stereotype. It's true.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? So it is a lot of
in
these
the
sorts
holler.
Yeah.
So we decided to stop. It was lunchtime. We had gone to
Welch.
Thank you. I was going to say Whaling, Welch, West Virginia, because we had to go there for a checkpoint. So we went in, we drove around, and of course there's nothing. There's nothing in the town, though. I think there's a pretty good picture of you, like, in the town.
Yeah, we were in the town. We found a parking garage, and you could tell this town was something 50 years ago.
Yeah, but when the parts where we went in, I think
Coal was king.
basically, but we didn't go very far in. So we found a Subway. So our car is painted. 4 of us get out of the car, all looking like Superman, and a school bus full of kids drives by at us in the parking lot. I think they were in the parking lot, and one of the kids pulls his window down, and he goes, "Go home, Fruit Loops." So we were like, oh, we're like, let's eat and not hang out here. So, right, that's what he said, Fruit Loops. So I'm sure he was a harmless child, but we decided that it was time to get out of West Virginia.
I'm sure he grew up to be a model of diversity and inclusion. So
I'm sure.
Yep.
But at his young age, he decided to tell us to go home.
If he was 8 or 9, you probably didn't have much to worry about because he probably only had 2 410 shotguns by that time. So he wasn't as armed as they like to get.
Right.
So I have a good costume story that is something pretty neat. On Elvis year, we're starting to try to the costume years. You'd have to end up take pictures with groups of people, and you got bonus points if it was a big group of people, like over 10 people, right? So we ended up stopping pretty early on we saw a sign for the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Museum. We said, "Oh, let's go stop there. That's great." So we did, and like we've talked about before, small to medium groups of weirdos are the best size groups of weirdos because no one likes lone weirdos. And too big a group as a mob, that's no good. So small groups of weirdos means they're organized, but there's enough of them that
they're
met.
harmless.
But
They're not going to infiltrate. They're just going to hang out together.
So we had a small group of weirdos, and we ended up kind of getting a spiel to talk to people to start. And we talked to the curator of the Woodrow Wilson Presidential Museum, who was just like out in the garden picking weeds. And we started talking to him, and he thought this was so funny. So eventually he's like, "Oh, come on in," and he pulled the rope back to Woodrow Wilson's Pierce Arrow presidential limousine.
Like 1912 Pierce Arrow.
Right. Yeah. And so we all sat in it for a picture. So there we are,
Yeah,
all
he
dressed
took
as Elvis.
a picture of it. He loved us. Yeah. We had Raphael with us, and he was dressed up like Black Elvis, because Raphael's a black guy.
Yep.
We should mention.
Large, tall.
Yes.
We had him in
very
the back.
big dude.
He was the president.
Yeah. He said he literally went like, I don't remember what he said. He was like, "Black Elvis, you sit there. That's Woodrow Wilson's seat." The guy got off.
I forgot that when you dress up in costume, that the goals were usually to take pictures with like a lot of people. So we always had to try to find people to be endearing to, and Cracker Barrels were great for that.
Cracker Barrels
at lunchtime, because they think you're funny. They're all sitting on their little rocking chairs, and you go up and you find the talkiest people, which is usually Jeff and I, and say, "Oh, you guys are, what are you doing? Oh, take a picture with us." And they're usually like, "Okay." Oh, one time we found like a baseball team.
Yeah.
I was at Cracker Barrel, Yeah. So anyway, so sometimes you score, sometimes you don't.
I remember one of the goals was one year was you got double points for every picture with a law enforcement officer. And you could kind of trace where you were in the United States by how friendly the officers were to someone approaching them in costume and asking for a picture. Because when it started up north, no, get away, no. And then the closer you got to New Orleans, it was, yeah, sure, we ain't doing nothing anyway. Come on over here. We'll get a good picture.
That's about right.
Yeah, that's about right. Definitely. So I know it was mentioned before, so I should just mention it coming in a close second, or maybe just terrible in a totally different way, is Connie. So I have to mention Connie. It was a 1973 Lincoln Continental.
Didn't she just show up on your Facebook memories or somebody's Facebook memories?
It was avocado green. It was 22 feet long.
Barnaby Jones once drove this car and caught a bad guy.
It was amazing. This was when gas was $4 a gallon, and anything with a carburetor you could buy for no money. So I literally bought it for $400.
I love the wheels you put on it too.
Fresh. Jim Thwaite hooked me up with a set of rusty gold spoke wheels. So I put gold stickers all over it. It was amazing. And it broke down 7 times in the first day. And that was the day it ran the best.
It was before you even left the parking lot. You blew up the exhaust.
Yes, we blew up the muffler because I put a flamethrower on it. So you had to rev the motor and push the button, and it was it would spark, and there was a spark plug in the tailpipe. So basically, it would just dump. When you push the button, it would cut the ignition module, so it would dump raw fuel into the tailpipe and light the. Yeah, it didn't work.
I was standing next to Jeff before we was checking out of the hotel. So he and we didn't know each other at all. We met each other a couple times.
An hour before.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're standing next to him, and he looks at me. He's like, I think that was my car that just blew up, because
it's a massive boom. Yeah.
And we're all he's like, oh, I think that
was my car. The explosion was amazing.
Wasn't that the trip where you met your favorite journalist?
Yes, Brett Burke was. So Brett Burke is a journalist. I don't know what he writes for now. I'm not sure.
He's definitely for Vanity Fair and a couple other different organizations.
Yeah, he's definitely in Car and Driver frequently, but I think he's, because they're all owned by the same people now, right? So sometimes he's Motor Trend, whatever. So he was writing a gay car blog for Vanity Fair, and he got on the forums and basically said I'm a journalist and I'm going to be on the rally and I'm going to write a story. Would anyone mind if I wrote along with you? So half the people were like, oh yeah, sure. Here's a tip. Never put a freaking journalist in your car, because that is the worst idea ever. I don't mean quote journalist. I mean actual journalist. Not we're driving in the DC Metro. We're on, I can't remember if we're on the Beltway or not. And it's the tires are going click, 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 click. And he's like, hey, I think there's something wrong with your tires. And I'm like, shut up, dude. What do you know? And we lost so many tires, and that one blew up 30 seconds after he said, hey man, I think there's something wrong with your tire. So we lost the was it the master cylinder? Yeah, we lost the master
Name a
cylinder.
brake part. You lost it.
Oh, I lost it. Oh.
And by the end of it, you've lost more than parts. Yeah.
There was no national network of old Lincoln Continentals with, there was not Continental Juanita. No, you were on your own.
So here's a tip. When you blow the rear brake hose, the rubber brake hose on your 73 Lincoln Continental, and decide just to vice grip it and keep going, that'll work until you can get a 74 Ford F100 brake line, which will fit.
All right.
Yep.
And the only top tip.
And the only tires that will not blow up are just buy truck tires. Just go and buy truck tires.
Yeah,
we had We
No,
had
no,
like
like-
one
a
BF
Goodyear
Goodrich,
Wrangler. Yeah.
All-Street, and a Wrangler. They were the ones that stayed together. Anything
Well-
that was a car tire just did not stay together.
One day you were fixing something on it, and Chrissy and I took the Fiero and took the one wheel that had the most shredded tire and just stuck it on the trunk of the Fiero, went to the local tire stop.
Ratchet strapped it
Oh,
to
yeah.
the back because it's the Fiero.
Right. And we went to the tire shop. I said, I just need one of these. I don't care what it is. What do you got?
Just fixed it.
And so that's when we ended up
Oh.
with the Goodyear Wrangler RTS. But, that one survived. So that was
That one
fantastic.
did survive. Yes. Radiators. You just don't have them.
Yeah.
We overheated that car every day, every way. It was horrible.
Added
And for our
Bardsley
listeners,
saved
this
one
was-
for later. That was kind of like
Yeah.
This race or this event, I keep saying race. This event was run in the summer, and
Oh, yeah.
you drive
Memorial Day weekend.
through the South, deep,
Yeah.
humid South.
And the worst part is this was the first time that we really hung out with any Lemons people. It ended in New Orleans, and the Lemons race was at No Problem Raceway, which was like a drag strip that had a road course. I don't know what the hell that was.
Yes.
I know it had mosquitoes the size of airplanes. That's all I remember about
When
it.
you were leaving, it was like driving through a northern snowstorm. Like
It was so
because
bad.
the bugs
Yeah,
were
it was,
so thick.
and you couldn't see any past that.
No.
Like it was,
Yeah.
it was the
It was like
visibility
a
was
fog.
terrible. Yeah.
So they invited.
Hold on, super quick
Lemons-
story. The bugs
Okay,
were
go
so
ahead.
bad, and we were getting bitten so bad at the racetrack. So you guys were fixing the car. We had just parked the Fiero and said, "Okay, we're good." And we put everything back, and then somebody said, "So I'm just standing around," and I think it was Eric Phipps. He says, "Chrissy, come here." I can't do it, Eric. You can do it better. He says, "Chrissy, come here." And I said, "Oh, okay. What can I help with?" And he was like, "Go get me that towel." And I put it on his legs because we were getting bitten so bad that he was under the car, and he was just like, I thought I was doing something
He was trying to
remember
replace
that.
He's trying to replace the shocks in the Oldsmobile, which at that point had turned
Oh.
into slide whistles, and so and going over the causeway out of New Orleans, it caught the right frequency that it started to get air because it just
was
wasn't
horrible.
dampening. Yes, it was unintentional lowrider hopping. They were trying to
Yeah.
stop it
for
and they
so
couldn't.
long because the causeway is like 8 miles long.
And that was a convertible Delta 88 that you guys got for cheap because it had no top.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
then they-
also
Yes.
pretty terrible.
they just
And
put
so-
a tarp and some ratchet straps.
Bungee.
So
It's a lot
I'm
of
glad
bungee.
you brought up Eric because Eric is and he's come back to us. He's now lemon racing the he's got a Forester, right?
Yep,
Super
unreasonably
Forester, yeah.
hopeful racing. I think they go by these days.
Yeah. And Eric is truly, actually was professionally a mad scientist. That was his job. Was the Army would come to him and go, "We need a vehicle that does this," and he would, take a long drag on
Cobble
his
together.
long drag on his Marlboro and say, "Come back on Tuesday," and it would do that sort of thing. So the only Babe rally I've gotten to do was when I was deployed because I had been racing with you guys and we were friends. And you guys like, "Oh, you have to do this Babe rally. It's completely different than racing." So I spent, and we've talked about it on the show, I spent the last 2 months of my deployment shopping online with my wife on Craigslist to find, something horrible to do this in. And horrible isn't the word for what we ended up with. So I bought a Lumina minivan. And
I was
it
going to say
was,
transport. It was Illumina, huh?
it was beyond god awful. We painted it with chalkboard paint,
Chalkboard
and every
paint,
day
yeah.
somebody would write a new message of how this vehicle simply will not make it, and
We
they
weren't
were
wrong.
correct
Yeah.
in every aspect. It made it only 4 nights, or made it 4 days on the rally, and one of those nights it drove into the hotel under its own power. Every other night it came in on the back of a flatbed, usually courtesy of Chris's AAA membership.
Yes, we use that a lot.
And
Oh, that's funny.
we ended up having to start late. So we drove and we met everyone in Tennessee, driving straight through from Oklahoma, and we got there as everyone was leaving. Made it all the way across the country, and then on the rally slowly begins to die. Eric fixes it twice. It dies on the way to the bottom of halfway down Tail of the Dragon. It
Tail
dies.
of the Dragon. Yeah, I remember this.
Kick it into neutral, and it rolls down to the bottom of the hill. Everyone stops to help us. One of the vans, it was a Dodge minivan with a built-in keg sticking out of the side, because that way it wasn't alcohol inside the vehicle. They did their research on the DMV laws. So we end up with an impromptu party. People go and shuttle, get parts for us. Eric fixes it. Then it makes it another 50 miles before it dies completely in what Chrissy would term as the world's most pathetic caravan, or world's most pathetic convoy. Rolls in that night.
Every
on a flat-
car in that terrible convoy was broken, except our Saab, which was kind of broken.
Kind of broken. And it comes in that night on a flatbed. At this point, Vicky and I have not slept for 40 hours. And there is video from the Two Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He used to raise money for diabetes research every year on this one. And there's video of this thing coming in on the flatbed. Eric, with his ever-present Marlboro hanging out of there, looks at me and goes, and he'd already fixed 2 cars that night. He looks like he just crawled out from the bottom of something in Road Warrior.
Well, that was one of the years he didn't bring any extra pants. He only had one pair of pants.
And no belt. Because he uses zip ties for belts? I'm pretty sure that was him.
We did zip ties for belts because that's all he had. They were falling down because they were getting loose because he'd been wearing them for 5 days. So we zip tied to 2 of the belt loops just to shorten it up.
He looks at me with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and goes, "You look like shit. Go get some sleep. I'll fix it for you." And sure enough, we woke up the morning it was running.
Yeah, I actually helped him that night. So the van was running, and it wouldn't turn off. and he's like, no, turn the key off. And I was like, dude, the key is in my pocket. I'm standing next to you. So he kind of like grabbed the harness, like the motor harness, and just kind of like ripped it out with his bare hands, and it stopped. And he said, well, I know what's wrong with it now.
So it would start the next day, and it would make it most of the way through Alabama before it would finally die. There is video of this on my YouTube channel. When we got it to start in an Arby's parking lot, you immediately hear Jeff's voice going, "Oh my God, if you only had smell-o-vision." And we decided. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it was burning more antifreeze than fuel, I think.
Yes, and it was a James Bond level smoke screen. So we turned it off, and in this Arby's parking lot, an hour outside of Talladega. I mean, this is middle of nowhere, Alabama, Flatlands, Alabama. There's a camouflage Mercury Capri, a German camouflage Miata. A Swedish Saab, or Swedish flag painted Saab, and a chalkboard fail van, and something else, some other unruly weirdo vehicle.
You'd always end up picking up some other straggler out there and adding to the caravan.
And these 2 good old boys come by in a Chevy short box and go, "What are you guys doing?" And Jeff, always the friendly one, explains it to them, and they're like, "That's the funniest thing I ever heard of. So what's the matter with this thing?" "Oh, it's dead. We're leaving it here." They drove around the Arby's parking lot, pulled right back in and go, "Hey, what y'all gonna do with that? Y'all gonna junk it?" "Yeah." "What you want for it?" And I look at him and go, "Case of beer." And my wife straight up elbows me right in the ribs and goes, "2 cases of beer." So they brought us 2 cases of beer. We handed them the title, and off we went. We actually had to hitch rides in 2 different vehicles.
But we had to take all your stuff out of it. And you had brought an extra set of wheels.
You had bought a set of wheels,
right? So we had to take those wheels.
I had borrowed a set of wheels.
Yeah.
For my buddy's Infiniti, yes, and I couldn't leave those there.
So we had to those ended up in somebody's crappy Volkswagen van, and everything else was going. It was rickety van, I think, or whoever's terrible van. So we just pile everything and everyone into this after you swap the wheels on the van back to the stockers with the Maypop tires on them, and we all just kept going. And how did you get home that year, Mental?
So the camouflage Mercury Capri was sold to me for a tidy sum of, I think, $200-$300 because it was Jim Thwaite and he wanted to buy somebody's crappy Volkswagen
Someone
TDI.
had a TDI, yeah. Someone had a TDI.
It was
Jetta.
an untitleable TDI, and then we had to strap
the wheels to the
back. The wheels
yeah,
to the
yeah,
back. And hence we couldn't put the roof up, and drove back to Oklahoma from New Orleans in a rainstorm. And yes,
and it was not a smooth ride home, if I recall either.
No. In fact, we ended up with a pinhole leak in one of the coolant lines, blew all the coolant out, and it was one of those. We're only 45 minutes from the house. We'll make it. Meanwhile, the needle is comfortably in the red, and that ended up cooking the head on that car too. So, but we did get home.
Oh my.
Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking this is the dumbest idea ever, you're right, but it's not a reason not to do one of the Lemons rallies, because the Lemons rallies they took away the price limit, and it's really a point-based merit system. Chris,
it's a reason to do it. It's
exactly.
Here's Jeff gave this analogy once, and I still use it to this day in all kinds of situations.
Great analogy.
You go on safari. The monkey steals your lunch. The hippo flips your boat. You get chased by the elephant, stalked by the lion, who the rhino hits your Land Rover. Did you have a good time?
I think you had a great time. You saw the monkey, you saw a rhino, you saw a lion.
Right.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
right.
But you also had a really good story.
Right.
Like, that's what happens when you go on these things. At least, I mean, it's one long story. You're tired. You smell bad. You're dirty. You just want to be home. You want to eat a freaking vegetable.
Yep.
Goodness gracious.
But somehow you always lose a lot of weight on these things. I don't know how.
Because you're not.
Because you don't poop for 3 days.
Well, that would gain weight right there.
Well, what you eat is only like on the side of the road by boiled peanuts.
You find out you can't get boiled peanuts, and then you feel a little ill after you eat so many boiled peanuts from when that kettle was cleaned.
Boiled peanuts are great.
Yeah.
But they've devised it now to it's a point system. In fact, Steph and Florida Man Donnie did it in a press Honda, so they were remarkably comfortable and pleasant. So you can find your level of comfortableness. And what's interesting about the rally, especially now, is it's very little crossover. It's mostly rally people. There's a handful of racers, but mostly these are just uniquely masochistic people that don't want to race cars but want to do stupid stuff in crap cans.
And they have a lot of creativity in their crap cans too. Like some of the ones we saw at Barber last year was great. Like, go back to that show. You can listen to those. But things like the Nova with the LS swap with the turbo the size of your head, and the tissue box on the dash housed the boost gauges and stuff like that.
It's hiding the gauges. Yeah, it was amazing.
There's so many good ones.
Limos and hearses. And I know.
And for some reason, a ton of AMC Spirits.
Yeah.
AMC is a great product in Kenosha, Wisconsin for a rally.
If it's still alive, it's a great AMC. That was the one that was built as a press car or something. But if you've wanted to do something, there's the family that's running it right now. There's like 4 of them in that blue station wagon. There was the team that did the Texas rally with Florida Man Donnie, and it was 2 brothers and their sister, and they each had their own sticker that said "Mom liked me best," and that was the name of their team. And they drove from Wisconsin to Texas in a Ford Econoline breadbox Scooby-Doo van, and then drove it down there, drove 2,000 miles through Texas, and then drove home. And these are uniquely twisted people, but they were hilarious. And sitting down and just talking to these folks at the restaurant or the bar or wherever they have the gathering that night, it is absolutely worth the price of admission.
You meet some crazy
it's
people.
One of the few,
or potential spouses.
One of the few events you could take your family on. Like, you could take your kids on it.
Totally.
I mean, Scott McMichael, didn't he take his kids last year?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he did.
So,
yeah. aside from some language that they wouldn't hear going over to your buddy's house and watching the playoffs, and actually I find that on these rallies, because the people are so enthusiastic about this hobby, they're a lot more willing to adapt their behaviors around children. So it's probably more kid friendly than going over to somebody's house and watching a football game.
Yeah.
And they'll learn a lot.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Oh, yeah, they will.
It's good life lesson time.
Totally.
There.
Absolutely.
This is why you want to put on a tire with a cross bolt pattern, son.
All right, let's go around the horn and just say the favorite thing about a Crapcan Rally. Chrissy.
What? This is not just. This
Favorite
is not.
thing that happened on a Crapcan Rally.
Oh, I don't even.
Okay, how about this? Favorite car you took on a Crapcan Rally? Or maybe on yours, the one that didn't make it.
I mean, I feel like I've got to say the fake Miata. The Miata that wasn't supposed to go on the trip.
Last minute Barbie Miata.
Last minute Barbie Miata. It was terribly reliable, which is not what's supposed to happen on a rally.
It was a legit $500 Miata too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I think that one was my favorite.
Okay.
Okay.
Chris, what was your favorite?
The 86 Mustang GT 505 speed ragtop painted like the General Lee, including the horn, because man, did they love that anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon. Especially because the horn didn't play the last note of Dixie, so it was just a little bit pathetic at the same time.
And the car crab walked down the road.
That thing was trapezoidal. It wasn't even like
it was not straight.
But the 5.0 was healthy, so you'd step on the gas and you'd feel the whole chassis flex as the left front lifted itself up, but it would go. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Made good
sure
noises.
it would.
Put the rag top down, hear the 5.0, and it was a good time.
I got to say Miracle was probably my favorite because I still own it, sort of. But, man, the E30 Bonaducci, man, it was red and it had issues. That car was great.
And you
like
beat it like a rented mule.
I like how... No, I will get to you, Mental, in a second. Oh, I guess Mental only had one.
Oh, that's so good. I have two. And I'm planning on a third.
So none of us said the Wartburg. Surprise.
That wasn't any fun.
No, that was the worst.
know.
That was the worst.
I'm just kidding.
All right, Mental.
Granted, it was I've only got the two, but Donnie's Cadillac, which Donnie set about, he knew what he wanted, and he set a several month search to find a manual Cadillac Cimarron, and except for throwing the bolts on the one night it was freezing ice rain, the car didn't miss a beat. It was surprisingly comfortable, even though it had a Iron Duke redline of 4,500 RPMs. It was pleasant to drive. You could hold a conversation in it, got good gas mileage. That was just a ton of fun rolling around.
Brown.
Yeah, of course it is. Brown and brown bluer inside. He still has that car too. It was great. And I'll say
I daily drove two Babe Rally cars for like a year afterwards.
That's why the Miata
last minute Miata, I drove that for a long time, and that has a bunch of parts from that went to Jeff's Miata eventually.
Oh, that's right. That was the one with no top, and you drove it in the snow. And
we put a top on it. It was all right. And then I had the Saab 9000, which I drove that for a long time. We took that on all kinds of road trips because it was a fantastic highway car, and the air conditioning worked great, which felt like cheating on the rally, but
kind of.
It worked great. Yeah.
It's not a limousine, or rather a casino limousine, but it looks like a funeral home limousine. So it just has the seats facing backwards and the seats facing forward. But there's a guy that wants $1,600 for a Cadillac STS limo. It runs. It just needs to be vacuumed out, and it's been on Facebook Marketplace for a while. So I'm willing to bet he's going to drop that price soon. And I've got all the guys.
The North Star is going to blow up in about 10 minutes after you leave. So.
And if it only needs to be vacuumed, that sounds like a terrible idea.
No. The North Star will never run right. But it'll chug along for a long time.
Until it blows a head gasket, which it will.
drinking the fluid right out of the radiator, right out the tailpipe.
So the goal is if it survives, because I want to do the Rocky Mountain Rally, the one they're doing in Colorado, just a 3-day one, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
How about a Toyota Hilux pickup? That would be a great thing to take on.
It's short 2 seats, but yes, or
Seats
the
in
Volvo
back,
wagon.
Brat style.
Oh no.
It's Colorado. You might get away with that too. All right, we'll look into that.
Yeah,
one.
or a Volvo wagon. All these are great options.
Yes, these are all great options. But the option is the guys out here, we call ourselves the Trailer Park Nation when we were all in the military together, is then after the rally, we have our own limo. So when you guys come to visit next year for SEMA, I pick you up in a limo.
Yeah, the odds of it being there and running at that time. No, you won't.
Oh yeah. No, you'll get picked up in a Mercedes, but I'm going to tell you right up until arrival, I'm coming in the limo.
Yeah, right. We will not believe you.
Yeah.
So the lesson behind all of this, and I think we can all wholeheartedly agree on this point, is you need to do a rally, especially if you're interested. If you listen to the show and you're not a racer, you need to do a Lemons Rally.
Even if you are
a racer, you need to check it out.
Yeah, because you obviously like doing stupid things in cars.
Right.
This is just a slightly different stupid thing in a different car.
As long as you have a good attitude about it. You have to not care about any of the thing. You don't wear makeup. You should probably wear deodorant. But other than that, like,
I can't wear my eyeliner?
You can, but this is the things you have to find your priorities. You have to not care about standing on the side of the road for 6 hours because you can't fix your damn car or you need the part that doesn't work. You just have to not care about these things. You just have to have the attitude that it's fun. You're making a story with your friends and it's all good.
And you have to have the attitude if you're driving and you recognize that car on the side of the road, you have to stop.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm gonna wrap up my part of this by saying, if you think you're tough because for 3 days you race a car, but you have like an RV and all of your tools and all of the parts and a parts chaser and your lunch,
a bathroom,
and all of
a shower,
the groceries and a bathroom, a shower,
a grill.
Like, you're not tough until you're like, pack an extra alternator, a crescent wrench, or a change of underwear, because I only have room for one.
And you're not going to need any of them. What you're going to need then is...
be on the side of the road trying to, like we said, honing the brakes with a toothbrush.
Right, or strapping up the gas tank on your Saab with whatever tape and straps and things you can find, right?
Yeah.
Or field welding with a coat hanger,
and
the
jump
sun.
box.
Yes. Yeah. That happened.
All these are true stories.
I know.
Yes.
But do it.
Anyway,
seriously.
just do it.
Do a rally.
Okay.
Do a rally. Let's move on. I believe we have just the tip this week.
Yeah.
Just the tip.
How did you news? And you've had a lot of margaritas.
Yeah.
He's sobering up now.
I'm sober now.
Sober now.
He's just tired. Yeah.
All right, so we're talking distracted driving in your rental. So I have been in a bunch of rentals for the last few weeks, and surprise, I'll be in one next week too. But I'm sure Jeff could attest to now. It's really easy to get distracted when you jump in a car, expect to drive to your destination without getting used to where things are. So tempting to throw your bags and jet, but it's time that you take notice to a few things. Where are your mirrors? Have you set the radio? Does your car have CarPlay? Figure out where you're going, get it set, and then do this all before you get on the road. So I am saying this because admittedly, I did not do this. Jeff, hold on. I did not do this. So I found myself trying to merge on a highway and find that my mirrors are aimed directly at where everyone else in the world has them, exactly at the car. I can see the color of my Camry, which was lovely, but I could not see into the lane of traffic that I was merging into. So
that was in Atlanta. You better be able to merge now.
Right. So, but I turn around, all I can see is the ground and my car. And I was like, oh, cool. That's great. So even if you don't rent cars often, it's good to have it to get into. Do this in any car that you're getting into that you weren't the last one driving. Go ahead, Jeff.
I will freely admit that I we were driving through Orlando in Orlando traffic, which is crazy. And we get to a red light, and I said to Jen, I was like, quick, put it in park, because I could only sync the Android Auto if it was in park. So we were at a stoplight, and I'm trying to answer like yes to all the lawyer questions. So
Are you driving? Are you safe? Is your seatbelt on? All these things. Yep. So
set the radio up, set your mirrors before you cruise.
Mm-hmm. Just a good thing to do.
Knowing that the Mercedes has 37,000 seat adjustments, I actually spent 30 minutes in my driveway getting it just so.
Well, it's got all the little ones on the bottom part, so it's like, well, how high do you want your thigh bolsters? Oh, how much do you want the car to give you a hug on your back? Oh, how about on your thighs? Oh, do you want the lumbar up? Oh, you want the lumbar the two spots a little closer together? Oh, we can do that too.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes. All right, that's all I got.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Let's see if I can do this and not screw it up. Once more time around the block for the good of the order?
No, we're all good.
Nope, we're done.
All right.
We're just waiting for you.
Oh. You didn't have time or anything.
Do you want me to do it? I can do it.
Thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you're going to join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, or rallying, because everyone can be a racer or a rallier, even you. If you've enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. New rally folks that I'm going to meet this weekend and convince you to listen to this episode. Give us a 5-star rating, even if you hate us, and then tell us why. If you have any
probably
questions,
read it on
show
the air
ideas,
if you do.
Well, probably. Absolutely. We will totally read it on the air. If you have any show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers. Thanks again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless you've gotten your Range Rover stuck in a ditch in Alabama, then just keep the wheels down.